today.
This is fun.
When a 25-ton HGV jackknifes on one of Britain's busiest roads.
Right, hold it there, mate.
A mound of earth plays dirty for Matt and Mateusz.
We got a shovel.
Jim faces a tough challenge, recovering a broken-down low-loader in dangerous conditions.
Oh, God. Well, as much as a grown man.
And when an 11-vehicle car transporter blocks rush-hour traffic,
people get greedy, don't pull too far forward.
Steve's 26 years of experience reaches breaking point.
I think a lot of people want to go home, so they're itching for us to get out of the way.
Crouch Recovery is one of the biggest family-run roadside recovery firms in the UK.
He's stuck in grass, yeah.
Set up just over 70 years ago, its 35-strong team of recovery ops come to the rescue of over 30,000 heavy goods vehicles a year.
Up again.
Helping to keep Britain on the move 24/7.
There's always some poor bugger in the mess.
For these guys, size doesn't matter.
Really lovely.
It's 6 a.m. and operations manager Steve Kelly is clocking on for the day shift.
So this is the moment we find out if we've had problems in the night, if I've got anything to sort out first thing.
Steve has spent over a quarter of a century in the recovery business and trains many of the company's recovery rookies. For Steve, no 2 days are the same, but his job is what makes him tick.
I started off doing recovery, helping out friends when I was about 18, 19 years old, and I just developed a massive passion for it, really. I eventually got a job at a small garage in Aylesbury, doing light recovery. Absolutely loved it, and then progressed on to doing heavy recovery.
Before he can start the day shift, Steve needs to catch up with what's been happening overnight.
Morning. How are we doing?
Water's pretty clear, a couple of outstandings.
Spot on. All the trucks all good, nothing off the road, anything like that?
There's no major stuff in the market's got all that.
Right now, all is well. But an hour later,
And your fault with your vehicle?
as rush hour begins,
Turn around, put him back to the depot, mate. I don't want him fannying about down there, you know what I mean?
the jobs are coming in thick and fast.
Well, look, this ain't working. Anyway, that's my mobile ring, and it's got to be Always England, I think, so... All right, back.
But there's one case that's put Steve and his team on high alert.
We've just had a job come in, quite a large incident on the A1. We had an articulated vehicle leave the road.
On the A1 in Lincolnshire, an HGV has jackknifed and swerved off the dual carriageway and into a field, narrowly missing a house. The police are on the scene and Highways England has shut down one of the lanes for the recovery to take place.
Steve?
And ready to take on the job is recovery op Matt Tilson.
We'll head down now. Cheers, mate, thank you. Bye-bye. Right, we're on.
Former Waterboard employee Matt has been in the business for almost a decade. For him, recovery work was always a pipe dream. And now he shares his time between the front line and the company's HQ. Once on the scene, as the crew's supervising op, Matt does an on-the-spot assessment.
Unit's gone jackknife to the trailer.
Matt is assisted by fellow recovery op Mateusz Jezerski. And they both instantly realise that this job is a whopper.
It's a bit buggered. Bit buggered.
The 25-ton HGV is wedged fast in a massive mound of soil.
That's what's annihilated the front axle.
On the roadside, homeowner John Blair is taking stock of the trail of destruction outside his property.
As you can see, all the trees. There was a wall, existing wall down there.
John was in bed asleep when the HGV nearly ploughed into his house.
4:30 this morning, we heard him hitting that wall. There was a telegraph pole here with our service to the telephone. That's gone. That's on the other side of the field.
Luckily, the driver walked away from the wreckage unharmed.
I thought he's not getting out of it. And he did. He walked out of it. He's a very, very lucky man.
Now the crew has to work carefully to prevent any further damage being done to the HGV during the recovery process.
The fuel tank's actually ruptured at the front.
But before any towing can take place, they have to straighten the cab from its awkward, twisted position. A manoeuvre which is going to take precision work.
This is fun.
But Matt has a plan of attack.
I think what we're going to have to do for a start is try and straighten the unit up. It needs to go back at the same sort of angle, really.
Matt's idea is to pull the cab backwards onto the road, in the hope that it will line up with the trailer.
The best option is to take it backwards, basically the way it came in. Because the unit's in such a weird position, and there's posts and a big mound of mud that side, we can't drag it round. We're just going to end up dragging half the field onto the A1.
Luckily, Matt's on the scene with the best truck going for the job. A new kid on the block for the firm. This winch truck, from Crouch's newly acquired sister company, is capable of towing 72 tons. But now it's a baptism of fire. First, the crew have to turn their truck around so they can pull the HGV backwards onto the hard shoulder.
Park down there, facing that way, drag the unit backwards and out onto the road.
But the manoeuvre requires a full closure of the dual carriageway.
Let's see if we can get you turned around, mate.
So Matt speaks to the police.
Hey, yeah, you all right?
Yeah, you.
Is there any chance we can stop the traffic completely for 5 minutes?
5 minutes. Yep. Brilliant.
The road is about to be closed, but it's not a decision taken lightly. Stretching over 400 miles from London to Edinburgh, the A1 is one of the UK's busiest arterial roads. And it's just come to a complete standstill.
We appreciate that closures are disruptive to everybody's life. They can be a challenge, but think how much worse it would be if we didn't have that expertise at hand. We are not experts. We can't do the job that the recovery agents can do without picking up the phone and ringing them and getting them along as well.
As tailbacks start to build up, every second counts, and Mateusz needs to work fast. But there's trouble ahead.
Don't get stuck. Quite a bit of damage to the front axle is the only problem. Front axle's mullered.
After it's pulled backwards, the crew eventually will have to manoeuvre the cab from the front in order to fully align it with the trailer. But attaching a winch rope to the badly damaged front axle looks like an impossible task. Matt will have to think on his feet to get this monster vehicle out of harm's way.
No problem, I'll get someone straight out to you.
It's been another hectic morning at Crouch Recovery.
And it's make and model.
At the company's HQ, hundreds of calls are coming in from drivers in desperate need of roadside assistance.
And what's the fault with the vehicle?
We've got Kev in the depot. Yeah, get Kev on it.
Steve and his team are keeping their cool.
We've just had a few jobs come in. We've got people in depots ready to roll. So it's looking like it's going to be a good day for us.
But on the A1 in Lincolnshire, recovery ops Matt and Mateusz are battling to rescue a jackknifed HGV.
Unit's gone jackknifed to the trailer. A jackknife vehicle means an articulated vehicle or a vehicle towing a trailer goes past the point of no return on the pivot and crashes into itself, basically.
Before towing the vehicle away, the crew has to straighten the jackknifed cab so it's in line with the trailer. To allow Mateusz to turn the recovery truck around, Highways England has closed down both lanes of the southbound A1.
Shut lane 2 completely, so we've got a chance to turn the vehicle around. Hopefully.
With the truck safely in position, the police reopen the second lane. But straightening a 25-ton vehicle is no mean feat. The team need to move the trailer sideways first, before pulling it backwards onto the hard shoulder.
We might end up having to just slide the trailer sideways. Yeah, because I think it's going to, if we pull out at that angle, I think it's going to go over that lump again, so we might have to just pull the side trailer.
After talking through his battle plan, Matt sets up the recovery truck for Mateusz, who'll be taking control of the job's winching process. First, Mateusz extends its 2 steel legs to give it greater stability when it starts to pull. Next, he rigs up a pulley, also known as a snatch block, to control the trailer's direction of travel.
We're just going to attach a snatch block down at the bottom of the leg, so we've got a really low pull onto the trailer.
And finally, Mateusz hooks in his winch cables to the trailer's undercarriage.
There you go.
These steel wire ropes can pull 14 tons.
Right.
With rigging complete, it's time to start pulling the trailer. But with one lane of the A1 closed, while the recovery takes place, there's no time to lose. And whilst Mateusz operates the winch, Matt must remain vigilant.
Just keep an eye on the traffic so you don't feel so bad about it backing up.
With winching over and the trailer now at a sideways angle, Mateusz repositions his recovery truck so he can pull it backwards.
We need to get it out of that, as far away from that jackknife position as possible, because it's got no steering. We can't steer it.
As the cab steering is shot to pieces, Mateusz has to pull it out using pure winching force.
Hopefully, pull the unit out so it's almost straight, pull the unit down, pull the whole thing down to give us a bit of, well, get it straight basically.
Mateusz starts up the winch. But winching stops because there's a problem.
This ground is really soft.
The cab's wheels are stuck in a heavy mound of soil. There's only one thing for it.
We got a shovel. Chuck us a shovel. Otherwise we're just going to drag all that out of me.
Time for Supervisor Matt to get his hands dirty. With some of the earth shifted, Mateusz cranks up the winch once again. But the mound of earth is playing dirty.
Oh no, well, door's breaking off.
And he's stopping the cab in its tracks. Matt instructs Mateusz to halt the winch.
Right, hold it there, mate.
And now he needs to work fast to clear more soil away from the vehicle's path. But the clock is ticking. Traffic is now seriously stacked up on one of Britain's busiest roads. And with every passing second, the risk of there being another accident increases. In the West Midlands, Jim Howard is on the way to his first job of the day.
Hopes for the day. Hopes for the day. Good sandwich and a tank full of diesel.
Recovery Op Jim has spent almost 2 decades rescuing thousands of heavy-duty vehicles from all corners of the country. And today is no different.
It's an MAN wagon and drag. It's got a caravan on it. Other than that, I don't know a great deal about it, to be honest.
A 20-metre-long HGV low-loader truck with a caravan on its back has broken down on a busy section of the M42 just outside Birmingham.
M42, here we are.
To help him on his mission, Jim is at the wheel of a 23-ton beast. A six-wheeler, twin-winch Volvo FMX Pioneer heavy recovery truck. He might only know a few details about the job, but this seasoned pro has got his plan of attack sorted.
I'll stick my beacons on, stick my assets on, start to slow the traffic down behind me, give them a chance to see that I'm going to be pulling onto the hard shoulder. If it's safe to do so, move onto the hard shoulder, stop, fold my boom down, reverse back up, load her and away.
What Jim doesn't know is that this job is going to be far from straightforward.
Anytime you're broken down on the motorway, it's dangerous. The motorway's a horrible place to be. I've worked in all sorts of situations over the years. I've been in the army. Motorways are definitely one of the most dangerous places I've ever worked.
Wow, really?
Yeah, honestly. Well, unless you're coming under fire, you know, then that's slightly more dangerous, but, you know, you don't get that often, do you? So, the quicker you're out of there, the better. What's that there? There we go, found him.
Minutes later, Jim arrives at the scene.
Yeah, there's enough room for us to sneak in, we're all good. First things first, we'll find out what's going on.
The vehicle and its driver are in an emergency refuge area, known as an ERA. But still, they're just meters away from high-speed traffic, and Jim needs to move fast.
How we doing? How's it?
The driver was travelling north when his clutch failed. Luckily, he made it to the ERA in the nick of time.
I was just heading back home. I was just taking this caravan back home, back to our yard in Leyland, Lancashire, and I was just coming back from Swindon and just felt my clutch go a bit funny. Just no gears or anything like that.
To avoid causing further damage to the clutch, Jim has to disable the gearbox from its wheels.
Assaulted by my tools.
This will stop the gearbox from turning while the vehicle's being towed.
From the gearbox, you've got the prop shaft leads to the differential leads to the half shaft. You take one of these out and it stops the gearbox turning. That's the long and the short of it. That's the most basic way it can be explained. It's going to back up now.
With this type of truck, there's one possible easy fix: removing a half shaft, which is located in one of the truck's centre wheels. But before Jim can start work, he needs to get the broken down truck onto his underlift, which will give him greater control of the vehicle. To help him do that, he uses two steel stilts, known in the recovery business as coach stands.
Just pick her up, pop her back down on top of the coach stands. Then we can get the forks onto the axle then.
It's only then that he can slide the underlift in place. A nifty piece of remote control operated kit capable of towing a mammoth 60 tons.
Just want to do it all as quick as possible so you're not so vulnerable here for the traffic.
Exactly. There's no need to rush though. Slow and steady does win the race. You might as well do it right first time.
Working an arm's length away from a motorway lane is a dangerous place for Jim. And while he's under the truck, he has no way of keeping a line of sight on the traffic should anything go wrong.
You're listening all the time for the sound of someone passing over the rumble strip. Yeah, something's coming over the rumble strip. You want to get out and get behind the barrier. It's not so easy on in an ERA. You ain't got a rumble strip. You've just got your broken white line.
With the HGV low loader safely on the underlift, Jim can start work on the half shaft. All he has to do is remove a few bolts, and the job's a good one.
Fuck it. It's not gonna go.
Oh.
Bollocks.
So let's put the bolts back in with something really big.
But this case isn't going to be as simple as Jim had hoped. The bolts aren't budging, which means there's no chance of getting to the half shaft.
The half shaft bolts are too tight.
There was no way they were coming out. I was going to need a scaffolding bar to jump up and down on them. Yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares about this one tonight.
To have any chance of getting the truck out of danger, Jim is left with just one option.
I'll take the prop shaft off then.
The only other way of disabling the gearbox is to drop the prop shaft, which means Jim will have to remove another mechanical component fixed deep in the middle of the truck's undercarriage.
We don't like going underneath anything with air suspension because the fact you're underneath it, if something goes wrong, potentially finished. So I personally prefer to pull a half shaft out of everything rather than drop a prop. So if I'm going to get wiped out, I want to see who's killing me.
Removing a prop shaft involves going under the vehicle to do a much bigger and longer job, which means Jim won't have his eye on high-speed traffic and any unforeseen dangers coming his way.
Fun bit. I hate lying on my back beating prop shafts off. Personally, I avoid dropping a prop shaft where practical and safe, for the simple reason I don't like being underneath a vehicle. Anytime you're on your back, you can't see what's going on. You're praying that nobody takes their eyes off the road and slams into the truck that you're recovering.
I don't believe this bullshit.
It's really, really important to stress that there is no such thing as a simple breakdown. Every single breakdown has the potential to be an accident. Quite often, people will lose a bit of attention. That few seconds of inattentive driving at 60, 70 miles an hour, whatever you happen to be doing, you travel a significant distance in those 2 seconds, and you could be much further over than, you know, into the next lane, or sadly, you might end up clipping the vehicle.
With every passing minute, Jim can't afford to lose concentration.
You just need somebody to stop paying attention just for a moment. Look at the phone, pick up the phone, write a text message, career off the road, to hit somebody, to kill somebody. It's literally a split-second thing between life and death.
Recovery Ops Matt Tilson and Mateusz Jazerski have spent over an hour attempting to recover a jackknifed HGV.
Just keep an eye on the traffic so you don't feel so bad about it backing up.
Mateusz has been trying to line up the truck's cab with its trailer by winching it backwards onto the hard shoulder.
Hold it there, mate.
But Matt stopped the operation because a big mound of soil was anchoring down the wreckage.
Chuck us a shovel.
And it's not going anywhere.
Otherwise, we're just going to drag all that out of me.
Now Matt has no option but to clear more mud off the mound, one spadeful at a time. This tedious back-breaking work is a world away from manning the phones back at HQ.
When I'm not in the office, when I'm out here, you're seeing those details, you're in those details, you're part of those details. So, in my eyes, more interesting out on the road. It gets into your blood, you just get addicted to it.
With most of the mound cleared, the HGV gradually starts to slide backwards.
It's coming the right way.
After giving it some elbow grease, Matt hopes the next step in the process won't be as tough.
We're going to go around the front and drag it over forwards, so we can get it right on the front of it and just drag it across now.
Mateusz needs to pull the HGV forwards, which Matt hopes will finally line the cab up with its trailer. This means he needs to turn his truck around so the winch can pull the HGV in the right direction. Once again, Highways England closes down the one open lane so he can do a three-point turn.
At Highways England, time is one of the key factors that we know really, really upsets people. We always strive to get lanes opened and closed quickly. It's really, really important for us to make sure as well that we engage regularly with recovery agents. We don't want to be seen to be criticised for not delivering roads reopened in a timely manner.
With the recovery truck finally facing the right direction, Highways England reopen the second lane, and Mateusz preps his truck for winching.
Yes, sir.
happening next, man?
Put the legs down. Put them on the change, winch on the front and pull it outside this front truck.
You think that'll get it out?
Yes.
But the axle is wrecked beyond use.
About the only place we could get onto the chassis.
So Mateusz attaches the winch cable to the chassis instead.
Jump ball.
And powers up the winch one final time. But these steel ropes are powerful beasts, and Matt needs to make sure his colleague is safe.
I just want to stand this way a little bit, mate. If that snaps, it's going to go straight for that corner. If it does snap, if it's got a lot of pressure on it, it will go in whatever direction you're winching. So if you're stood behind it, winch cables can cut people in half.
Forwards more, yeah.
Winching over, the cab is finally lined up with its trailer, and the crew is one step closer to the finishing line.
We're just going to back up and hitch up like you would normally. Hitch up so he can tow it away. Drive off without a hitch.
Mateusz lines up the underlift, a piece of kit that can lift 33 tons. After over an hour on the scene, the crew needs to work fast to get the second lane of the A1 back up and running.
Where are your spanners? Here, you go get your spanners, I'll hold that.
But with the front axle badly damaged, the job is not going to be easy.
Fuck!
On the M42 just outside Birmingham, recovery op Jim Howard is getting down and dirty, working on a broken down truck.
Shit. Shocking. Cold, wet, dirty. Leave it at that. Bolts on the shaft are over tight as well. So you have to get a bit of tool abuse to get them off.
The vehicle's suffered a clutch failure.
Sometimes it's not as simple as just winding the bolt off.
And to avoid causing further damage to the gearbox while towing, Jim is disconnecting all power to it by removing the prop shaft from the truck's undercarriage.
Brilliant.
But the job is requiring some serious muscle.
That prop shaft was really tight. The bolts felt like they'd been welded on. I do not like lying on my back on the motorway at all. I really do hate it. So I just want to be out there as quick as possible before someone gets hurt. That's you.
All the while, Jim can't keep an eye on the fast-moving traffic around him.
Bollocks. Sometimes you just want to cut the prop shaft in half with a still saw, sling it in a ditch and go home.
Finally, the first bolt starts to loosen.
She goes.
Jim moves the truck forwards and back to loosen the remaining 3 bolts.
Get your aircraft spanner, wedge it onto the bolt, onto the chassis rail, and then you use the wagon. The weight of the wagon, as you draw it in, the prop shaft rotates, bolts catch on the chassis rail, and the spanner loosens it. So that's what I've decided to do, just to give me a slight edge to get the bloody things off.
Yeehaw!
Last one. Oh, go for that. Oh, God. Weigh as much as a grown man. Big grown man.
With the 90-kilo prop shaft in good hands, all Jim needs to do now is load it on the back of the truck.
Have you got a strap? You're a superstar.
But towing a 20-metre low loader away from an emergency rescue area is a lot harder than it seems. To pull away, Jim needs a clear lane and takes immediate action.
What we'll do, the SOS box, there's one in every ERA. We're in at the highways England, speak to the operator. I'll ask them to close lane 1. Once they've got compliance, the red lights are on, the X's are displayed. The traffic will move over, we can pull safely out into traffic and then away. That's the theory.
That'll do.
Hello there, it's Jim from Crouch Recovery. I'm at 6434A on the M42. in the ERA. Have you got us on camera? I've loaded it up. I'm ready to move out. Could I please have red X on lane 1? You're a superstar. Yep. Thanks for your help. Take care. Bye-bye. OK, that's the lane closure in place. We can go.
It's good news. Highways England agrees to close down the lane.
Happy days. She's on. Working closely with highways is very, very important. When you're working on the motorway, you're in a live lane, you're on the hard shoulder, you need an extra bit of closure. The closer lanes, to help to keep us safe, to help us all to go home safely at the end of the day.
See a red cross on the one ahead of us. It's obviously quite tight.
It's on the T behind us.
After a testing time on a dangerous motorway, both vehicle and its driver are safely on board. And it's a job well done for Jim.
Let's take a prop shaft off. What's that all about?
Back on the A1 in Lincolnshire, Matt and Mateusz have battled with a mound of dirt to recover a damaged HGV.
Forward, yeah.
After an hour of careful winching, the troubled wreckage is close to being towed away from the scene.
Well, we're just going to load up now, ready to tow away. Just want to get it out of the way, and then they can open the road, you see.
Before they go, the crew disable the brakes on the trailer's back wheels by pumping air through a blue-coloured airline. This will allow the wheels to roll as the wreckage is being towed.
Oh, it rolls. Right, we're off now.
With the job done, Matt reports back to Steve at HQ.
Hello, mate. How'd you get on?
Not too bad, Steve. It's all done.
Excellent. Everyone happy?
Yeah, everybody's happy, mate. Homeowner's really happy.
Spot on, mate. No, sound.
All right, mate.
Good job.
Cheers,
All right, mate. Cheers. Ta-ra. Bye.
After a long day at work, operations manager Steve is heading home.
I've been sort of stuck in the office for a little while. It is nice to get out, really.
But his dinner plans may have to take a back seat.
I'll ring with myself. All right, mate. All right, mate. Go back.
He's just received a call from one of the company's rookie recovery agents, who needs an urgent hand on a job.
As soon as they've got on site, they've realised it's far too much for them to do. So they've given me a call.
An 11-vehicle car transporter is stuck in mud on the edge of a crop field just north of Lutterworth. Already on the scene is newly trained recovery op Nathan with one of the fleet's biggest winches.
Here it is. We've arrived on site.
As soon as Steve arrives, he quickly assesses the situation.
He's pulled over to let a car through, and unfortunately the ground it looked like this solid stone that we were sat on, and the ground's give way, so he's sunk down, unfortunately.
Steve quickly takes control and instructs Nathan to prepare the truck for winching.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's flip him over. Yeah, bring him back up, we'll flip him over. That'll do on that one. That's it, just leave it there for now. And the thing with new guys, you can't expect somebody to know everything straight away. We try and tell people, take their time. You can't rush new guys to do this job because there is so much that can go wrong. Go on, pick her up.
Steve comes up with a plan to use 2 cables to winch the 19-metre car transporter out of the mud.
We've got 2 towing points on the front. We'd like to go to the axle, really, or the chassis underneath, but because it's so low down, the only option we've got at the moment is to go to the towing eyes at the front.
But there's a problem. The stranded vehicle is stuck on a narrow dirt road, commonly used as a rat run by local commuters. Now Nathan's recovery truck is blocking it, bringing rush hour traffic to a standstill. And the operation is attracting an audience.
We've got a lot of people here just not trying to get out. I think they finished work and they want to go home. So we've got possibly a bit of crowd control to do. Once we start winching, I'll try and keep all of those out of the way, and just try and keep everybody safe as we can.
Keen to get the car transporter up and back on the road without any road rage erupting, Steve needs to make sure rookie recovery op Nathan follows his orders to the letter.
Jump in it, let the handbrake off. Just sit in it, mate.
Because they're on a narrow road and there's little room for manoeuvre, Steve wants Nathan to winch the transporter out with 2 winch cables, using short, sharp pulls.
Yeah. Is the handbrake off, yeah? Is the handbrake off? Yeah. To be honest, it's all about angles, really. Because we're on quite a narrow road, if we park too far away from it, try and winch it, it will just slide along the ditch and we'll be just winching it all night. The idea is to do several short pulls, and the angles of the winches and that will just bring this vehicle out. Ideally, we want to probably be parked in the middle of that field, but we'll end up getting stuck ourselves.
But immediately, things aren't going to plan.
Fuck's sake, man. I'll put the brakes on.
Part of the 15-ton transporter is dragging along the ground, preventing a clean winch out. Steve quickly adjusts the transporter's front bumper to stop it dragging and causing further damage.
This was going to dig in the ground, so we get in a position where we stop. We stop, release the tension off the winch ropes, we pick that up off the ground, and then we'll carry it back on with the winch in operation now.
Steve starts up the winch. As both winch cables pull all 15 tons of the stranded car transporter, Nathan tries to keep its wheels at the right angle.
Just straighten the wheels a bit.
And the vehicle starts to move. The recovery ops are making progress, but with a tailback building on this busy rat run, all eyes are on them to get the job done fast.
I think a lot of people want to go home, so they're itching for us to get out of the way.
And Steve is feeling the pressure.
That way slightly. Stop.
With most of the heavy pulling done, Steve drops one of his winch cables.
What we'll do, is I think we'll just go on that one winch from now, with the other side from now on. But just disconnect that one and just tie it up out of the way. Just in case we do need it, just hook it on somewhere. The vehicle's not far off out now, so we don't need as much winching effort to pull it out, so we can now revert to just using one winch instead of the 2, and that should achieve what we need to achieve. Oh, that's this side, everything on this side now. It should just be a matter of a few short pulls. In a minute, once we're a lot further out with it, we should be able to do a longer pull and get these people home on time.
But while Steve works hard to get the job done, one of the drivers has decided to take matters into his own hands.
Well, they've obviously decided getting home is far better. It's far better than waiting. They're brave. They can see that the vehicle's already got stuck here, and you know, there's a very good chance they might get stuck themselves. If they do, we may help them out and winch them out. We might be nice.
With the other drivers now willing to risk the chance of getting stuck in the sodden field, Steve has got bigger fish to fry. On his next winch pull, he's hoping to get the transporter back onto the narrow lane.
What you want to do now is as you're steering it out, you want to be hugging that side with that tyre. So don't worry about me. It's not far from being out, so we're able to benefit from a bit of a longer pull now. So we should hopefully, on this pull, get the drive axles up on the roads, and we'll be pretty much home and dry then. That's coming.
Nathan pulls his truck forwards to allow the driver to move his transporter's rear wheels away from the field. But they hang around to ensure he's home and dry.
Well, now it's out and clear of the hole, we'll just let the driver pull forward. And hopefully we have to just drive it out from where it is now the driver wheel's back on the hard ground.
But it looks as though they've put the winch away prematurely.
No, he's not. He's right. He's got it. But the back end is dragging. Yeah, I know. It's both, mate. It's both.
The car transporter's low unit is catching on the road's uneven surface.
Go up a little bit. With the suspension, go up a bit. We're just trying to... It's all in the uneven ground, and because these are quite low, we're just picking his air suspension up now so we clear the front. That'll lead up. Yeah, that's enough. Yeah. But it's a bit of a balancing act so the front of the trailer doesn't dig in, and we've got to make sure the back of the trailer's clear as well.
One more push.
That's it, you're clear, you're clear.
And it's free.
It's out, it's all good, successful job. We've just had a little look over for it. There's absolutely no damage at all on it.
With the car transporter and Nathan both heading off, Steve can continue his journey home for tea.
It's not very far from where I live, so kind of on my way home, really. So it'd be a bit criminal for me to go home and sit down and start eating my dinner while a guy's struggling to pull a truck out of a ditch.
What are you going to do now,
then? I've got to go back to my vehicle, I've got to get my overalls off and work out how to get this gate open to get home.
Fuck's sake, man.